Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in. Check out your boy, P Funk, thinking right out here in the lab. What I do, what I do for you. Got something nice for you today. Picked up my old book. I got a lesson right here. I want to pick out for you. Something short, quick, but informative, and a life lesson. Let's go. Rightism. 25 rules to live by. Storytelling. Story with a message. The message is in the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in to receive them. We got a good thing going. Let's rock. Right Thinker's mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right Thinker's way of life, and it is a way of life, through mental and spiritual discipline daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. That's the mission that I'm on, to get all right thinkers. That should be your goal, to reach enlightenment. Hint, hint. Talk about that today. Okay. Now, the question I asked: do you know you? That's the goal for all right thinkers too. Get to know you, and my mission is to get information to help you do that with. So let me get on this mission. A person who knows not. And I asked the question: do you know you? Okay. If not, it's rhetorical. But you're not a problem with that question for yourself, tune in. I can help you with that. That's what I do for you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. Person who knows not and believes and thinks that they know is dangerous, avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm a spiritual alarm clock, here to wake you up with knowledge of sound. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself. And to my eye, be true. Got a quick lesson. For those who didn't get on the bandwagon a while ago with enlightenment, I'm going to define enlightenment. Then I'm going to get into what is Egyptian yoga. Just in case some new people got on, I did this a while ago, but I think it might need to be a refresher course. I'm break it down for you right quick. It won't take that long. Let's go. First of all, enlightenment is a term used to describe what? The highest level of what? Spiritual awakening. When you have spiritual truth that you manifest for yourself, you have reached Nihas, aka the spiritual awakening, the highest level. You open up the seventh round of your chakras, but all that happens through righteous living and virtuous selfless service and doing what's right daily. It means what? Attaining such a level of spiritual awareness, knowledge, and understanding of the aspects of the characters of the God and goddesses I've been giving to you. That your spiritual awareness that one discovers, it means attaining such a level of spiritual awareness that one discovers what? The underlying unity of what? Of the entire universe, as well as the fact that the source of all creation is the same source, listen, from which the innermost self within every human heart arises. I try to teach you God dwells in the heart of man and woman, humans. That's his calling card. He's the heart. He's love. All that good stuff, yeah, that comes from the heart. That's the gift, the gimme. He's there with you. You, with the conscience that is yours, have to come to realize that. That's the enlightenment, becoming aware of who you are. The essence of who you really are is the same thing that created everything, aka God. This is the part about enlightenment, that spiritual enlightenment is all up here. Conceptually, they say God is a spiritual being, mean a thought being. You got to have conscious of him. The spirit is here. We got that. Don't keep messing with that. They got to start becoming aware, become conscious. And remember, knowledge of God is what we need. Lack of it is what we have, and we miss the mark. We become a bunch of sinners. Okay, moving on. The question again, what is Egyptian yoga? I had a book over here somewhere. It's in there somewhere. But on the cover, it shows you a whole bunch of diagrams and figures. But since I don't have my screen, that just use your imagination. But let me break it down for you. The term Egyptian yoga, let's talk about that, and the philosophy behind it. There's a purpose and a reason. Now, as previously discussed, wait a minute. Sorry about that. As previously discussed, yoga in all its forms was what was practiced in Egypt, apparently, listen, earlier than anywhere else in our history. We are the home of documented information. We ain't the first. We just the home of documented information. We wrote it down. We put it in stone. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you. Now, this point of view is supported by what? By the fact that there is documented scriptural and iconographical evidence of the disciplines of virtuous living, dietary purification, study of the wisdom teachings, and their practice in what? Daily life. That's where I come in. Daily life has got to be part of what you're doing. If you're going to do anything to become mastery over it, you have to do it daily in what? Your regular life. They give it to you that way, so you can do it that way. So, psychological, excuse me, psychophysical, and psychospiritual. Again, everything psycho is up here. Exercise. What's the psycho, physical, and psychospiritual exercise? And meditation. Ding, 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 ding. Being practiced in ancient Egyptian when long before the evidence of its existence in detached detected, and where India, including the Indus Valley civilization, or at any other early civilization, Sumer, Greece, China, etc. We are the originators. Understand that. But it says psychospiritual, psychophysical. That's working with the body. You can either do the Tantra yoga, the body moving and all that yoga position and bending and stretching. I go to the gym. I take it at, I'm an athlete, so I take care of my body physically on my terms. So I don't need to do that tantric yoga. That's why I tell you I'm not into that one. Then you got psycho spiritual exercise. What the hell is that? Meditating. Meditating is an exercise that if you practice daily, it gets you closer to your higher self, aka God. That's how you commune with him. I got an issue with my Christians because y'all pray to God. Y'all ask God for everything, but you won't meditate and commune with him. That's one of my things with y'all guys. So I don't get involved with that. But I know the other part to that mystical experience to get to God is meditating. Y'all do it with righteous living. It never works for you. I don't have a problem with that. Again, I still see things that I recognize and point out what I see. That's all. But when you spend time meditating. That's why they're more peaceful, they're more common people. Why? Because they're not harboring a whole bunch of nonsense. They know how to let it go. We talk a good game, but we don't live it. It ain't even close. That's the difference. Okay. And I tell people, I see good Christian people now. I never saw that before. I saw a bunch of hypocritical Christians, a whole bunch of I would just turned me off, so I didn't want to be bothered. So I had no use for that. I tell my pastor, thank God for y'all. Why? Because I see good Christian people. So I can get with that. Why? I'm a good dude now. Before, I wouldn't be bothered with that nonsense. That's a mindset then. But if it's done right and correct, I see people doing good. Count me in. That's what being a good guy is. I ain't going to change nothing. I ain't going to change them to right thinkers. No, I go to fellowship. I come here to do that. Get cards out. All right, but listen, moving on. This is teaching. I'm trying to educate you on something that you can actually use. That's the information I give. If the information you come here to get can't serve you, what's the purpose of coming here? What's the purpose of me giving it to you? It's for a reason. I guess I'm excited. Why? Because this is, good stuff. The teachings that I teach of right thinking philosophy is a yoga, and at the heart of the Per M Haru. It's a philosophical concept that you can manifest and live by with yourself. That's what I'm trying to get across to you. Now, as explained earlier, the word yoga is a Sanskrit term meaning to what? Unite. You, the individual, with what? Your cosmic forces, your higher self. But it takes this with this to become one. That's the unite they're talking about. That's the unite. And the purpose of religion is supposed to do the same thing. Unite you with God. Y'all call him Christ. Y'all call him what, Buddha, Allah, whatever it is. But it's things that you can do. Psycho, physical, workout. Psycho, spiritual, meditate. And that will get you closer. And watch this. The term has been used in certain parts of this book for what? Ease of communication, since the word yoga has received worldwide popularity, especially in the Western countries in recent years. But the ancient Egyptian equivalent term to the Sanskrit word yoga is sma, S-M-A-I. It means union. And the following determinative term gives it what? A spiritual significance at once. Watch this. Equating it with what? With the term yoga, as it is used in India when used in the conjunction with what? With the ancient Egyptian symbol, which means land, which is Ta, the term union of what? Two lands arise. They consider two lands, upper and lower. Now in the chapter 4 or chapter 17 in your Per M Haru, I got that right there too. It says a term Tawi, S-M-A-T-A-W-I or T-A-U-I is used, watch this, and it means union of what? The two lands of Egypt. Ergo, Egyptian yoga. The two lands refer to what? The two main districts of the country, the north being down, south being up. In ancient times, Egypt was divided into two sections, again, or landmass areas. These were known as Lower and Upper Egypt. Now, remember conceptually, your body is Egypt. You're Egypt. Lower is Set, higher is Haru. We're trying to philosophically, metaphorically, give you the understanding of how to be. And that's what this does a great job. Watch this. Now, in ancient Egyptian mystical philosophy, watch this. The land of Upper Egypt relates to what? The divinity, who I just tell you? Haru. Haru, who represents what? Now, watch this. Haru represents your higher self, which is the land of the lower Egypt relates to Set. Again, higher is conscious understanding, lower is the nature and self egoism understanding. That's what I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to show you where this is you. Your ego is your lower, Haru is your higher consciousness. You get it? Watch this. Now, they're constantly at battle. In all good mythological stories, the good guy win in the end. Understand that? We done flipped the script, but we got the bad guys winning. That's not good. That's not a good message to send. So understand that in my stories, good guys always win. Watch this. Now, the divinity, watch this, of your lower self, which is Set. So you got Smart Tawi, it means what? The union of the two lands, or what? Or the union of who? Your lower self with your higher self. As above, so below. As above, as below, so above. They got to come together. They got to unite. And you see them tying up the real evil, another lesson. But you got the lower self, it relates to what? That which is negative and uncontrolled. Those are your sexual desires. things all that ego stuff, that's what the lower self is. Watch this. And this is in the human mind, it includes worldliness, egoism, and more important, ignorance, etc. That's set. That's you on your own. No God, just you on your own. That's why they call it the ego. Now, while the higher self, let's talk about that, relates to what? That which is above what? Temptation. Didn't Christ get tempted by the devil, took him out there and told him you can have all this and all that? So he's above that. He didn't give into that. Watch this. See how Christ was the same thing as the roof. Watch this. Now, you can't tempt me. I'm on the same level. Watch this. And it's good in the human heart. If you have a kind heart, giving caring heart, you won't mess over people. It won't serve you to do wrong to people. It's not here. So if you're led by this, you won't do those things. If you're led by this, it's easy to do those things. Moving on. Watch this. So the human heart, as well as what? In touch with the transcendental consciousness, which is Haru. Y'all call him Christ, Jesus Christ. But the original one was Haru. He's the reincarnation of his father. His father was the son. He was actually dead, passed on. He came, seeded his mother, and impregnated her, and he is the reincarnation of his father. I got the similar story. He sent his only begotten son. Really? So just understand, it's all conceptual and metaphorically, but they tell y'all believe it's literal. Moving on. Here you go. Where we at? So here you go. Yoga is used. Watch this. Well, I finished up down here. What they're doing down here. Okay, I'm here. Ignorance. Okay, set. Now the higher part, which relates to which is above. Okay, temptation. Watch this. But thus we also have what the ancient Egyptian term Sma Haru Set. I showed you the picture with the body. Haru and Set on the same body. They got a picture here with them together. They identical in everything waist down. Okay, so I mean they occupy the same body. It's all at this point mental, and you got Haru Set, or watch this, the union of Haru and Set. That means they're going to come together. Set is going to acquiesce. The lower self will acquiesce to the higher self. Hence, the good guy always wins in the end. Why? The bad guy is the bad guy for real. Remember, saying the bad guy, he's just unenlightened. Once he knows himself, he becomes your best fighter. Remember, he's the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight that's in the dog. He's the fight that's in you, and he's a bad man. Understand that? Put him in a working position, you got a good fight. So, Smatari or Samaharu Set are what? The ancient Egyptian words, which are to be translated as what? Egyptian yoga. That's the definition of it. Now, what's the next lesson here? I already did that. Okay, where I'm at? I'm supposed to go to 37. I just did that. 38. Here you go. Now, let's talk about the central and the most popular character within our ancient Egyptian religion of Asar, which is Danubian theology. You got Asar is Haru, who is what? Listen, an incarnation of his father Asar. I just told you that. What? Asar was killed by who? His brother Set. Set represents your ego. I'm trying to make this real easy. Your ego sign in hieroglyphic is a man with a hatchet to his head. That means Set is self-destructive. That means he will kill himself, so he cared less about anybody else. So he killed his brother to show you he don't care. Watch this. But he killed his brother, who out of what? Greed, jealousy, and demonic satanian tendencies. People who are haters, we call them haters. Set was original. Set the original hater. How about that? We can cut to the quick to the chase. All right. Now, and he craved to be what? The ruler of Egypt. He wanted what his brother had. He wanted to cover his brother's throne. Simple as that. Okay. Sound familiar? But let's go. Now, with the help of who? Tahuti, which represents your wisdom, your thought process. He's always should be in the forefront of everything you do. Why? He represents wisdom. That's the wisdom man. Set, watch this. Set, the great mother, and Hethadu, his consort, Haru, prevailed in what? The battle against Set, right here. Now, Set is so tough. Haru needed wisdom, intuition from his mom and his consort, who had she's also the female force for what he represents, the spirit. Okay, he needed all of that to subdue Set. Okay, so that's how bad Set is. Remember, he's a one-man wrecking crew. Okay, and he know it, and he don't fear nobody. Understand that. So for the rulership, watch this. The only way Haru could prevail to make the rulership over Kemet, aka Ego, which Egyptian with Egypt, which is the body, the higher self has to defeat the lower self, and they have to come together, and that's what they did. So watch this. Haru's struggle is what symbolizes the struggle of what? Listen, every human being to regain what? Rulership over their higher self and what? To subdue the lower self. It's a concept that you can understand, and once you put it in effect, you can see how it works. Trust me, it do. If you practice it and you implement it, it will work for you too, not just me. And that's the part I love when I got students who learning philosophy, implement it, practice it, and being better for it. So that's the part that made me feel good. Let me get this thing over with. Okay, I'm almost home. The most ancient writings, again, the most ancient writing in our historical period are from who? The ancient Egyptians. So understand that. I'm not here to debate and compete. No, I ain't got time for that. I just make my point and move on. So watch this. These writings, which was the first, are referred to what? Y'all call them hieroglyphics. We know them as Medunetta. The original name given to these writings by the ancient Egyptians who wrote it is Medu Meta. I do this, meaning the writing of God. That's why y'all got that concept that the Bible is. No, it ain't. Ain't even close. The handwritings on the wall, the pyramid walls in Medunetta, which is the first writings from so-called God. Nothing to do with the Bible. By the time the Bible got around, man, everybody had their hand in that pot. That's like the local girl. Everybody have been there. I mean, everybody have been there. All right, but the writing of God, that's what Medunetta means, or the divine speech. Again, this is God's message that we practice ancient Egyptian concepts. Watch this. Now, these writings were inscribed in where? Temples, on coffins, written down in papyrus, and contained the teachings in reference to what? To the spiritual nature of the human being and the ways to what? Promote, listen, spiritual emancipation, spiritual awakening, and the spiritual resurrection, what? Of the spirit. Again, the body is going to stay. The spirit is going to resurrect. The ancient Egyptian proverb presents in this next text are translation from what? The original hieroglyphic scripture. This is a translation from the original hieroglyphic scriptures. An example of the hieroglyphic text was presented above in the form of the text of the Samatawi, which is, I showed you right here. That's Haru and Set right there. If you look at them, they look to be identical to the spots on their body. Only thing different is the head from the neck up. I tell you, my philosophy, I'm dealing from the neck up. That's all I care about. Why everything else is the same. Only thing different is what you think and how you think. That's what they're showing you. Okay, that's again, a picture's worth 1,000 words. I'm giving you the words, and I'm trying to keep the picture so you can get the concept. They saying that in just a picture. I gotta say it a whole bunch of words. Hopefully you get to understand it, but that's the fun part for me. Why? Because I understand. All right, moving on. Where we at down here? Hmm. Okay, take the most ancient. Okay, right? Where we at down here? Spiritual, for example, hieroglyphics, semi-type. Okay, here you go. Now, an example of hieroglyphic text presented above with the form showing you semi-Tawi, Egyptian yoga, to coming together. Okay, high, upper and lower self. Egyptian philosophy, right? Thinking philosophy may be summed up in this following proverbs, which clearly states that what the soul is heavenly or divine again, and that what the human being you must what awaken to the true reality, which is what your spirit self, aka higher self. Your ignorant self is who you identify with. That's it. That's the ego self. Self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is the basis of what? True knowledge. Not scholarly, not biblical, but self. Soul to heaven, body to earth. I keep making that clear and I can't make it no clearer. If that don't tell you what you need to know about that, then you really missing the boat again. You're gonna become a bigger sinner. Why? You missing the mark on the concept that we trying to set forth that you can learn, adapt, and manifest for yourself. Man, understand this. Watch this. This is I'm wrapping up right here. Man is to become God-like. How am I supposed to do that? Thanks for asking. Through a life of virtue and the cultivation of your spirit, getting spiritually enlightened, get spiritual knowledge, learn and know thyself. That's how. Through scientific knowledge and practice of bodily discipline. Scientific knowledge, study, learning, it's there. All you gotta do is put it to use and you practice it. I'm in the gym every day, getting my body together, keep it in good shape, along with my thought process. And because I study and practice what I study and live it, that's how it's done while you're here on earth. And that thing called salvation, salvation is accomplished how? Through what? The efforts of what? You, the individual. There is here you go, Christian. You're gonna blow your little theory. There is no mediator between man and his or her salvation. You're responsible for everything you say and do. Jesus can't save you. Salvation is what? Listen, the freeing of what? The soul from what? Is bodily ignorant fetters. By becoming what? A God. How? Through knowledge learned and wisdom that experience, controlling the forces of what? The cosmos, instead of what? Being a slave to them or being ignorant to yourself by subduing what? Your lower nature, and through the awakening of the higher self, through study, living right, and you end what? The cycle of rebirth. What you mean? If you become spiritually enlightened, you know thyself while you're here. When this body ceases to exist, the spirit goes back to its maker. If the spirit is not enlightened, it goes back to being reincarnated. They've been telling you that for eons. Understand it? But watch this. Now, it says what? Through the awakening of your higher self, you're ending the cycle of rebirth. And what? Now you go dwell with who? The netters who direct and control the great plains. Spiritual afterlife, aka the Dua. That's the lesson that I want you to understand. Egyptian yoga is to gain mastery of self from a spiritual and knowledge of self aspect. It's all up here, and you still gotta keep the body in shape. Don't forget the body, mind, body, and soul. That's the lesson. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back.